pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Here, you give us first.
I've got to thank you for the opportunity to come today and do the work of the county and pray you give guidance and wisdom to commissioners, help them to have the insight into the proper ways to manage the county. We ask you to watch over the county employees and to bless this county to your glory. In Jesus' name.
Good morning, everybody. I reviewed the minutes, make a motion that we approve them.
Second it.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the minutes. All in favor? Aye.
I've got 2 abatements. There's 2 abatements, number change order 2020-173 and 2020-174. I'll make a motion that we accept these.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. We approve these abatements. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I've got the bills. Make a motion to accept the bills and for $714,408.24.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. We pay the bills in that amount. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You got anything else?
That's it.
Gary, anything right away?
Nothing that needs to be taken care of.
River City?
Bill Matlock, River City. Update on the construction progress. As everybody's well aware of, weather has definitely affected us the last 2 weeks. It's still going to continue to affect us a little bit. We're here, we're working. We still got to get thawed out. Weather looks good this week, 63 tomorrow. Just talking to the sheriff, we got to get through that phase, get thawed out in the mud to really get progress going. We will be looking at alternative things, overtime, weekends, work, see what we can get out of the subs. But the last 2 weeks will reflect on the schedule, I'm sure. That doesn't mean it cost us 2 weeks in the end. We got a long time between now and the end of the project. We got a lot of subs that we can spend some money that we didn't spend on temporary heat or ground thaw or things like that we might spend on overtime, things like that to try and keep us on schedule. But we'll just have to kind of work through it and see how it really affects the end schedule. So,
Okay. You got any questions, Danny? Jim? Thank you, sir.
all right, thank you.
Sheriff?
Good morning, Commissioners. Kevin Friend, Linn County Sheriff. Just to get to our numbers, had 28 total prisoners in today, 17 in our facility and 11 of the others farmed out. 10 in Anderson and 1 in Bourbon. This past week, we had 162 911 calls. That was up quite a bit, but as we all know, just like River City reported, the weather, of course, had effects on everything this last week. So 241 calls for service this past week. And the only other notable number was our vehicle crashes were up a little bit. We've been running 2 and 3 a week, and this past week we ran 8. So that's pretty much all I have.
You got anything, Jim?
Nope. No.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Have a good day.
Thanks, Kevin.
Doug?
Doug Bartlett, Fire and Emergency Management. 2 things for you this morning. The first would be a request to extend the disaster declaration you did this past Wednesday 1 additional week. I think the water plant at Pleasanton, I think they've kind of got it back online or working to get it up and running again. And then, of course, there were the issues at Lacine with natural gas and the price of gas and so forth. So the disaster declaration, while it may not affect the county itself, could affect those cities and their ability to seek assistance. So
So the president signed the declaration just for Texas right now, right?
just for Texas at this point. I don't know if there will be one signed for Kansas or not, but at least this keeps us in the declaration that would benefit our cities if there is a presidential declaration.
And the reason we do these things for the counties in the event that federal funding does become available, correct?
That is one benefit
One
of
benefit.
doing it, yes. It bypasses, by doing a declaration, it bypasses some of our purchasing rules where we don't have to advertise for several weeks and
Right.
do all this. In an emergency, we can go out and purchase things without following those rules. So it gives us some flexibility to respond to a disaster. On the backside of it, by doing this, it also opens us up to the availability of receiving funds from the federal government and or the state if the state gets a disaster declaration. If we did not declare a disaster and then monies were made available through a presidential declaration, we would not be eligible for those funds.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of the backside of it. A disaster declaration for Jim, a disaster declaration can even be declared in advance of an event. If the Weather Service, for example, says that we think there's going to be a major tornado outbreak in eastern Kansas, we could declare a disaster for that event, even though it hasn't happened yet. That opens us up to the functions and abilities that we have. And then if nothing happens in Linn County, it's okay. The fact that we declared a disaster and nothing happens does not penalize us in any way. So
Did you write up anything for the resolution to extend it, or do we need to?
I didn't know on extending it.
I
David?
think you could just be in the minutes on record with a vote to extend the declaration that was issued.
It's good for 7 days when you issue it, and then it has to be extended for another 7 days. The only exception to that is the COVID, which you made indefinitely because the state has allowed us to do that.
You got any discussion on that? Any problems with that? I'll make a motion. We extend the emergency declaration for Linn County for 7 more days.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Do I need this? What's this?
I'll pass it around if you just kind of switch it back and forth.
Oh, okay.
Evergy at the end of last week approached me with a question as to whether or not we would be willing to accept a trailer if they would provide it to us. The trailer is around $200,000 to $250,000 worth of an asset. The letter kind of explains or outlines what they're looking at. They're wanting to station a trailer in our county that could be used at their power plant that carries a product called F500. It's a product we currently use here in the county. Their requirements for us would be that it be stored in a heated facility. They would provide the trailer and the foam. If Linn County needed to use that foam for a use here in our county, we would replace the foam. If Evergy used it for something out on their site, we took it out there and used it out there, they would replace the foam cost. We do routine maintenance and checks like tire inflation,
Sure.
checking the hose, things like that. Any upgrades or maintenance of the trailer itself would be provided by Evergy. And then they want to train with us a couple of times a year for providing the trailer. So the only cost to us would be what time and effort we spend in using it, because they're going to pay for all the upgrades, maintenance.
Can we get that all in a, if we wanted to do this, could we get it all in a memorandum of understanding?
That would be my recommendation, that if you're willing to allow us to proceed forward with this, that as we move forward, we get a written document where they sign it, you sign it, stating specifically the things that are in here. Right now, it's kind of a concept. The gentleman that reached out to me is going to apply for 3 more trailers. Currently, they have 3. He's going to ask them to purchase 3 more. He does not have a firm guarantee at this point that they will buy them, but he wanted to know if we would house it. I reached out to my captain in Lacine because that's the station most likely to house it in. He felt that pending size, and of course we didn't have dimensions or anything, but pending the size of it, he thought we could easily get it in our station there at Lacine.
He's
That
a
it would be a
big
good
benefit.
asset.
That's Jerome Minson, and he works for the Olathe or Overland Park
Johnson County
Johnson County?
Fire District.
Fire District. So, I mean, he's up to
Captain
par
for
on,
them.
yeah.
I'd reached out to him about how much it weighs, 6,800 pounds, because one of Jerome's concerns was, would we have something to pull it? He said we should easily be able to pull it with our existing 1 ton.
Yeah.
So that should not be an issue. The other question I've reached out but did not get an answer back on is
Chevy.
if it were to be needed at, say, the Hawthorne plant or one of their other facilities, since it's their trailer, are they going to come? We let them into the station, they hook onto their trailer and take it, or would they expect our fire service to take it up there?
Right.
And I don't have an answer to that question, but the main thing I'm looking for now is just a consensus from you that if they were willing to offer this to us, that we would be willing to accept it as long as we can work out the terms and conditions.
So what do you think?
I think it'd be a great asset.
Okay, what do you think, Jim?
Average, as long as they,
Is it, as long as we have a memorandum of understanding of what we have the ability to do and what we're expected to do of it, yeah.
They did not send a picture of the back of the
That's
trailer,
okay.
but if you look at it, it has a US DOT number, and a fire department would not need a US DOT number.
Right.
So I'm making the assumption that it's still their trailer, they own it, they're just stationing it with us.
Okay.
So,
You got 3 commissioners that say it's okay.
okay.
Search it
we
out.
will- We will pursue that with them if the opportunity is available. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is that all you got?
That's all I have.
Thank you. Amar?
Good morning, Louis Aloy, AMR, Operations Supervisor for C Shift.
You can take this phone with you.
First off, before I go over the numbers, our corporation was kind of giving us kudos last week regarding our response during the pandemic and a lot of our emergency response that we went out for federal aid. And the supervisors here in Linn County, which is Jeff, me, and Derek, wanted to extend some of these challenge coins that we got to you guys for assisting us to make it easier to do our jobs here.
Sure. Did Doug and them get that?
Oh, I gave Doug one personally, and Jeff beat me to the
Sure. Okay.
because he's like that.
Thank you.
So thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
So the numbers this week, obviously we made it through the snowstorm. We had a lot of slide offs, but with that being said, definitely the sheriff's office was fantastic this week, and the dispatch system of kind of determining the slide offs versus the calls, which kept our numbers down a lot. I know I seem to work every snowstorm, and they were just going on slide off. Usually we get hit out on those, and they were just hitting the mark as far as accuracy of what was an injury and what wasn't before we got there, so we weren't so overloaded. We utilized mutual aid multiple times during the snowstorm, and we had Johnson County down here 4 or 5 times. We had Bourbon County. We used Anderson County to kind of help during our times of need. The numbers show 24 calls for the week with 12 transports, and actually these numbers seem a little light compared to some of the days. We want to thank pretty much anyone in the dispatch system. I've been kind of in charge of
Get a
tracking.
Golden Globe today?
I've been tracking our emergency medical dispatch protocol that we started about 1.5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And this month we have just hit our mark where we're pretty much 7 out of 8 calls are hitting our EMD. Are you familiar with the EMD, sir? So pretty much our dispatchers in Linn County will hit it out, and then they'll transfer the call up to our dispatch center. And what happens there is they'll go through a series of questions that prioritize the call and let us know what we're kind of going out on, and also offer pre-arrival instructions for certain things. For choking, they'll show Heimlich, CPR, they'll teach how to give compressions and things like that. And after quite a deal, especially with Kevin coming in, our dispatchers they're hitting the mark, is getting those transfers out, which helps us, especially in early activations for our helicopter, because then we can launch our helicopter earlier. Aside from that, I just want to thank you guys, and do you have any questions for us?
No, you do a good job, and I'm just kidding with you. I'm glad you give them kudos out to everybody. They deserve it.
You give me a hard time anytime you want. I love you.
Yeah, get with Galen. I told Galen last week at that meeting in Topeka, there's a lot of possible changes coming up with the education certifications and different things. So just keep your
Education certification was quite interesting this year with the pandemic, because normally we're only allowed to have 25% online recertification, and this year they allowed up to 100. But we're working through it. But our new supervisor Derek is doing just about all of our stuff now in person, in house. So we definitely nailed it getting Derek
And
on.
also the investigations were up from previous months. So I don't know if you get to review those investigations, the results of them, but if you ever get the opportunity to, it might help you when you're giving your briefs to people, your EMTs and your AMTs, because they're doing things that obviously if you end up in Topeka, you did something wrong.
It's usually bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes those are just good teaching tools.
And we're happy that you're there, because a lot of times we're getting the information back from you that we don't hear.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure Galen goes there, but he's running multiple operations.
Yeah, he didn't have an opportunity to make it because I don't think we allowed a certain number of people in there.
Yeah. But we get it back from you, so it's fantastic.
All right, good, man. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. And who did I not give this to?
Tisha, you want to go?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tisha Coleman, Linn County Health Department. COVID update. Total cases, 755. Active, 37. Linn County deaths, 12. Hospitalized, we're at 2. And clusters, we're at 3. Testing wise, we did not do any testing in our health department last week. Numbers as far as people I think being tested has gone down. The report that we're doing on Wednesdays, we would like to request that we can put that out on Thursday because we're planning for a mass vaccination clinic on Wednesday.
Is that just for this week?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Vaccination update. Total, as far as COVID pandemic vaccinations that we have given since the beginning, which would have been in December, is 560 so far.
560.
60.
Did you do any last week at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. Where am I at? Our initial shipments, and I'm just kind of giving you a brief overview. Our initial shipment that we actually received was 20, and that was in December. Then we began to receive 100 per week of prime doses, and it looks that we may be increasing that number, meaning the KDHE might be increasing our number to 200 per week of prime doses. Again, as this pandemic has been, everything changes, so don't hold me to that because I have no control over how much vaccine we receive. Last week we did not receive our shipment due to the weather, and that is from the CDC. That is not something that we can control. So in December, we gave 20 vaccinations. In January, we gave 50, which was 30 prime and 20 boost. And when I talk about prime is the first shot, boost is the second shot. In February to date, we have given 490, 460 of those are prime and 30 of those are boost. Due to the frigid temperatures and the weather that we hosted a walkthrough pod at our health department last Friday, and we were able to administer 110 vaccinations. We potentially can do additional, but parking is a concern. And so with that, I have reached out to Jackie Pubworks, and we're talking about putting in some gravel so we can have additional parking.
Okay.
Future vaccination pods are scheduled for boost doses from our February prime doses, and this Wednesday we are going to do a drive-through down at the fairgrounds, which is by appointment only, and we're working off of our registration interest list that is online. As commissioners, if you've not been down to one of these events, I would encourage you to come and do just a drive-through to see what it's like. We do need volunteers still, especially nurses, and something that I did identify that nurses who have recently retired in the last 5 years, if they do not have an active license, they can be utilized as long as when their license become inactive, they were in good standing. So anybody who's retired nurse within the last 5 years can reach out to us if they want to help. Vaccine registration interest phase 2 is online still at the Linn County, Kansas website. And then I'm going to be working on a report to give to you guys on monthly per request of the Commissioner Johnson. And I just want to verify or make sure, see what all information that you are interested in receiving from me.
I seen the information that Jim had put out. I don't have any additional for myself. I think
Okay.
that's sufficient. Did you
Yeah,
have
I just-
anything
I
additional?
just want to see the number of, the number that we're actually doing as far as the flu shots, the different services we put on as a health clinic. I want to know the services, and then I just like
Numbers on
a
it?
number of each
Yeah.
monthly.
I think that will help.
And that's fine.
And people can see what we're getting for the services, because we have spent quite a bit of money over there, Tish. I mean, there's been a lot of money spent. Up close to $600,000 has been spent on that building, whether it's grant money, Sparks money, it's bumping 600,000. And there's people asking me what we're getting out of that money.
Sure. I have no problem with that.
I'd like that. And I'll tell you what, I'd like Doug too. As far as you, Doug, with the fire service, I'd like to know the number of calls the month. How many calls we're having each month. Just like-
Doug, is that something you can put together fairly? Yeah.
Everything's computer recorded.
Okay. Thank you.
And along that line, I know that in the request was 2019. That would be very time consuming as far as getting our paper documentation, as we talked about, I think last fall, how we did not have electronic records.
Right.
I mean, there's some state programs that we can get from the electronic programs that they use, but if you want me to go through every single chart and figure out who did what, and you know what I mean, that's going to be very time consuming.
Well, you don't have you don't even have a paper copy of what you do as far as
Like an Excel spreadsheet or anything?
a spreadsheet of as far as if you give 10 flu shots.
Oh yeah, I mean,
That's what I'm asking.
that's easy. That's the
You're talking
easy.
about 2019, Jim.
Well, and I'm talking about 2019, meaning that, you know, our family planning, all of our family planning charts are charts. I mean, charts like this, not electronic.
Well, if you don't have it, but what I'm saying is I'd like to see the services that we're actually getting.
Oh, yeah,
from that.
absolutely.
As far as this, if you don't have it, I'll take it from this day forward.
Okay,
But I'd
perfect.
like to see the monthlies
Okay,
to see how many people we're seeing through that.
So let's see what you put together.
okay,
Okay.
perfect.
Thank you.
And then I will need 5 to 10 minutes for legal with Doug. That's it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
Rick, got a message from Chris Martin a couple minutes ago. He's not able to come in today. He's working on the generator bid, but wanted to let you know that all the radio channels were back online Friday.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Harding, you got something?
Not much of an update. Things are still clicking along. The only thing I would update you on, as I've expressed to you before, I'm real unhappy with the software we're using over there, and I'm trying to make what we've got work. So I'd set up a training with my staff to kind of get up to date, just make sure we're using it as efficiently as we can. However,
Which one do you have?
it's called Full Case.
What did we have before that John Sutherland was using? Wasn't it?
I think it's
I think you're thinking of the.
I am.
software.
I am.
That's
I am.
Not not related to this at all.
All right. That's more money.
So anyways, that training turned out it's going to be $6,000 for that training, and but we can get kind of spot training for an hour up to hour and a half to 2 hours, something like that, for free on the package we've got. So rather than it was a 4-day long training for $6,000, and I couldn't spare my staff for that long anyway. So what we're trying to do is just identify areas where we can call and get an hour and a half or so training to just kind of get updated on areas and just kind of make do with that and see if that gets us along. And it's been real helpful so far. I know that my paralegal, Sarah, she's been using that and has gotten a lot of use out of it. So we're still just kind of making that work and getting trained on that. And that's the only update I've got for
Cool.
this week.
Got any questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're it.
Good morning, Jessica Hightower, Economic Development. I've got a few things for you. I was watching, I couldn't make it in last week because of the snow, but I was watching the meeting, and you guys asked about the bylaws. So we found them. Gary and I have kind of done some updates. The Economic Development Committee has the bylaws, the draft, and we're going to meet March 17th in person to discuss the bylaws, maybe approve them if they don't have any changes.
Then they'll come from them to you.
Yes.
For final.
Yes. If you want them now, I can send you the
No.
draft. Or if you want
I just want to see them initially. I'd like to see the draft, yeah.
I can
before
email you all the
guys got
draft
and
if you
approve
want me to.
something.
Yeah, okay. But I won't have anything for you officially until at least after March 17th.
And these will be the draft from, you took the old and you're making some changes,
Yes.
recommended changes to update them?
Yep.
What was the old, how old were the old ones?
They were done on a typewriter.
Okay. Back in Gary's day?
I can send you, I've got them scanned though, if you want both copies.
Yeah, just scan me. I'd just like to read them.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm really bored.
That's fine. And I'm happy to have if you have any feedback, feel free to let me know.
Okay.
I would ask that we appoint Trenton Johnson to the committee. Jim suggested him
He's
for
filling one of your
his,
spots, right?
Yeah.
yeah, for one of his spots.
And he fits the,
He does. My committee is recommending that we appoint him, yes.
go ahead.
I'll make the motion. He's my son. Can I do that?
Yeah, well, I'll make the motion. I'll make you just, whatever you call yourself. I'll make a motion. We appoint Trenton Johnson to the Economic Development Committee.
Is there any conflict of interest with him being the commissioner and then his son being on there?
Everything's a conflict of interest. No, he's not. No.
As long as it's,
He's not a voting member.
right, he's not a voting member of the committee, as long as it's publicly acknowledged that the relationship exists and nobody's making any money out of it anyway.
You okay with it?
Yeah.
You second it?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor? You just stand it. Yeah. Aye. 2 with 1 abstainment.
Thank you. I've started this shop local drawing on the Facebook page. I'm using gift cards from local businesses, and people can enter the drawing by submitting receipts for local businesses within a time frame. I'm getting some response, not as good as I was hoping for. It's still new. I've only done 2 rounds so far, but I think that it will help catch attention if we have some kind of logo to attach to the Facebook posts. And so I've gone out, I found a website that I can kind of pick and choose and design one. I did several, the Economic Development Committee saw them and they liked this one the best. I'm going to go ahead and pass it out so you see it. So I'm not sure about the wording on it. I don't know if you guys have any ideas. I'd be happy to listen to your ideas. I did talk to Chris. He said, because I was trying to find out if I should buy the logo or if he thought we should try to create one similar. He told me to just buy it, that it would be easier if we just go ahead and purchase it and call it good. It would be $165 to buy the logo. I would get different file types so that I can use it in different ways. And then no one else can buy it if we buy the logo.
And what's it for?
For my shop local drawing, I'm hoping to help draw attention to
And you're
posts.
advertising just social media, right?
Yes,
Okay.
You got money in your budget.
yes, I do.
For $165.
$165, yes.
You know they're not very hard to draw.
I'm just,
It doesn't
that's
say
why
Linn County. It doesn't say.
I know,
I'm
okay,
not gonna
so,
beat you up too bad, but it doesn't say anything. It just says shop local, support our community.
well, yeah, I had that thought as well. So I think I'll go ahead and try to reword it to include Linn County. I had that thought this morning. But are you guys okay with me purchasing, if I can get that worked in there somehow, purchasing it?
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
I mean, if that's what you want to do, it's $165 is not a killer, but yeah.
Well, I asked Chris if we could design one and he told me to just buy it, so.
I'm not volunteering my wife to do it, but
Okay.
Is there,
you
is,
probably do one.
let me ask you this, is there anything in the school that some kids could do something for us? For
Maybe. That's a good
I mean,
idea.
a class, some,
Have a competition.
let the three schools go
Okay.
out and decide.
Ask for a design logo competition, give one of your gift cards as a prize.
For
That's-
the three different high schools.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
you go. Way to go, Jim.
Okay.
Give
That's
them
a good idea.
pizza party or something.
Well, that might get more expensive than just buying it.
Right.
It could be.
Cindy, school on some designs on things that they've done.
Okay.
I don't know if the other schools have much going on like that.
Right. Okay. Perfect. I'll reach out to them and see what we can put together then. I had a meeting last week with Jessica Cox. She's the curator at Trading Post. She's got a really good idea for a summer history program for the county, kind of a scavenger hunt with prizes at the end if you can answer all the questions correctly on the scavenger hunt. We're going to make it COVID friendly, so all the answers should be able to be seen from the vehicle. You don't have to get out and be around people. And I'm going to work in the next couple of weeks on scheduling a meeting to get people from the museums and the libraries around the county together and see if anybody else has ideas or wants to be involved in it.
Okay.
And then I need about 5 minutes for trade secrets.
For what? Trade secrets? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Guess we need Jackie.
You guys, it was brought to my attention yesterday. I got a phone call on this car wash here. And it's a citizen of Mound City. And they're wanting us to rethink what we're doing with the car wash because of losing a business in town. They was asking me, and they said there was a lot of concerned citizens over it. And I got it. It was a or a messenger.
Okay. You got any opinion on it? We bought it with the intention for parking and everything else, and
They just,
I don't want to change it.
huh?
I don't want to change it. I understand that. The individual that owned it was thinking about building a new one. I don't know where he's at on or if he's even going to do that.
Like they mentioned that, the price of the building price is right
Oh,
now.
man. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And we talked about it, 2 weeks ago about tearing it down because that change order was going to be, I don't know what the numbers on it were with running a gas line over there. So that was
I think we're too far gone now,
Okay.
Jim.
It was brought to my attention.
You can tell them to beat on me if you want.
Huh?
Tell them to beat on me. I'm the one that helped. I voted it in. But yeah.
It was brought to me, so I told him I'd pass it on.
Jackie, you're up when you're ready.
Jackie Messer, Public Works Administrator. Had a little bit of information, I guess, this after, 11 o'clock, we're going to do the park review, so I'll hold
We
off.
might be ready a little earlier than that if that's
He
possible.
would be happy with that, so let me
Me too.
let him know that that could be earlier. We had a little bit of weather last week. I think we got, tried to keep ahead of it. We used about 10 loads of salt as far as bulk loads. So we reordered to try to fill them back up. I gave you guys the information last week on the December report. And here's the January report where we tried to get a little bit more information in it. We did add the special projects that we were talking about
I got you.
on that first page. And then some of the other, the second page report is pretty much what I gave you before, but it showed January's numbers. We're going to do this every month, and I kicked out notification to all the foremen. I was like, guys, I'm we're bringing this stuff forward now. We're going to talk about it. And so you better make sure everybody's reporting their time properly, or it will reflect crazy numbers. I think the month before, we had a little bit crazy numbers on some of the stuff. But if there's any of that stuff you had questions for me on. And this is a mix. I can break it down by district or by the park is in there. Like, for example, cabin cleaning's in there, ditch maintenance. We can break it down more if you see any need, but culvert replacements, we got 36 hours in those. New culverts, 13 hours. Of course, a little bit hard when it's frozen to do some of that work. I was trying to see if any of them's campground maintenance, that's the time that they use to, it's not a lot of people, but what we clean. Like I said, I tried to get a lot of the hours in there.
Is there any way we could put hours, like as far as grading, road grading? Can it be on there? As far as hours, actual hours, the grader itself?
It's on there.
It's on there.
Where?
Fourth from the bottom.
Road grading,
Fourth one up, 529?
595 was put in on that.
Okay, I see that, okay.
We also had gravel in there too. Yeah, we can get I like this system. Not everybody does because it tells.
Yeah.
And so I can get about any type of information you'd like. I can get it for you. I think there's like 600 or 700 reports that you can write for this thing. It's just a matter of going in there and clicking.
What's your focus this week while they're looking that over?
We're going to be working with the health department a little bit on some of the needs over there to be able to get the people to the building in and out. We've got to figure out a way to do a little bit of gravel so they can.
So they can do the clinic through there? Is that what you're doing?
Yes. And then,
Are you going away, Tisha, from the, over here?
No, what we did, we think about on Friday, we're going to plan on doing it at the fairgrounds, but because of the weather and the temperatures and everything like that, we chose to downsize our number.
Right.
And just do it in the clinic. So we did 110.
So you-
We could have done, our plan a week and a half ago was to do 330 on this past Friday, like around the location, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. So you just need gravel? Is that mainly what you need?
I'm going to meet with her this afternoon
Okay.
with Harry, and we're going to design how to do a turnaround that's the most effective and keep out of everybody's way.
You're going to decide that, right? You and Harry?
Pardon?
You and Harry's going to work on that?
With her.
Okay.
So
So,
I have heard a lot of good things about down there, what you guys did. I mean, I haven't heard anything bad at all, and everybody's real pleased with the way you're.
I'll give you a list when I'm done. I'll give you a list of all the bad.
That's what I haven't.
No,
heard.
I haven't either. I heard great things.
But I will say that,
Yeah.
what you're doing down there.
And that's the next thing is if we, sorry to cut in on Jackie's
No,
time.
It's okay.
I like it.
If we start, if we get 200, if we get 200 vaccines a week, 300 vaccines a week, 400, it's because of the boost dose, the second dose that has to be, exact, I'd say 28 days, give or take 4 days, one way or the other, is the fact that if we can do like 300 in one day, that makes, to me, it's more efficient to do 300 in one day
Exactly.
than to sit there and do vaccinations all week long.
You already got your health fairs too, when it's down here, yeah.
I got you. Thank you.
So, and then, with pharmacies and doctor's offices, they've kind of been on hold, but if they start to get something, we've offered to help them out. I've asked for help from them. If they get, we could do one huge ordeal, maybe 1,000 in a week. I think we could do that.
Good.
Some of the other stuff it's all dependent on weather, but as it's thawing out and drying out a little bit, now we're going to be able to get out on the roads again with the blades.
You know what happens as soon as that thaw?
We're hoping to start knocking some of the potholes out and such with it's loosened up and a little bit softer, but we got to get it a little bit dry.
Right.
Machines are too heavy. I'm wanting to, this week, to work with the schools. We did get those two recycled trailers from McPherson County for $2,000, $1,000 each. And we're going to be rebuilding one of them to get it over to Pleasanton because they've been asking for months. They've got a student group that wants to get involved. I talked to the Lake region. I asked them to get the coordinator from there involved as well. So if we do what I hope we do, which is a very good school, the students are behind it to recycle, and we stand up a really good program, that they're going to use it as a model for the other counties to use. So I've got high hopes for that. If the weather continues to improve, we'll start looking at pouring that cabin slab up there again. I think we haven't moved anywhere on that AMR, but right now I think it's the wrong time to even be thinking about it, because as Danny probably can tell you, the price of material is astronomical, and I think it's not the time to build anything.
Yeah.
What I was talking to the manager of Avery's down there, and he was saying some of the prices and no availability of this material. I think trying to expand that up there needs to wait until prices come back to earth. I mean, you can't get any OSB 2x4s that I was buying last year for $2.50 or $8.50 or $10 for the same 2x4 now.
Yeah.
So we're
Talk
hoping.
about your trailers. The guy down there at Mound City did say, as far as the signage that's on the doors, he would like it a little different. I don't know what the sign.
Okay, well,
I didn't see it, but he just said it'd be a little easier for people to see what the stick were, and I just told him I'd pass it on.
okay. Well, that's good input, because we need to know this kind of stuff.
He'd like the signage a little different on it.
Yeah, we can work with them, and and it's very easy. We have a machine over there, which the Jason Parker with IT runs for us. It's a label maker, and we can look like bumper stickers. Just pulls it up on the computer, types it in, and prints it out. We can
What
print them
about
out.
the switch that runs that thing on the outside? He said it's been broke for a month or so.
Yeah, we've contacted an electrician. He's supposed
They're
to
old,
find
aren't
it.
they? Everything's 1,000 years old on those things.
Yeah, they're all old, but yeah, we've stopped by a couple of times. I know the switch is out, and we were trying to figure out, we have to get to the next level. I can't fix it. It's above me.
I
and
understand that.
It's
but They
above,
just said it's been broke for a month or so, so.
yeah.
It's,
Well, we did contact an electrician. He's going to look at that. And he's also gave him the go-ahead to fix the breaker and missed the screwed up wiring in the Bunker Hill.
Okay.
We've got too many panels reporting to one panel. So we're going to break them down to individual breakers we don't want to burn it.
So how are they pushing the trash out?
They do it from the inside.
Inside, there's a switch inside and a switch outside.
Inside the
Oh.
dumpster where you can push it.
I got you.
They have to go inside.
Oh.
It's better when they can do it outside because they can monitor what's happening.
Well, in Lacey don't have an outside one, does it?
Yes,
But
it's on the building.
Bill stands inside the whole time.
So we're working on that, and then just as the roads deteriorate this week, we'll be doing a lot of gravel and trying to keep up.
Okay.
And then a little bit later, I didn't want to do it now, but I want to talk some more about the contracts on the bridges.
Okay.
I wanted a little bit of clarification, but I figured I could come back a little bit later and do that.
Let's try to move this public parks and public works up to right after the road vacation here. And I don't think there's anything. So like
Okay,
10:30.
20 personnel.
Yeah. Okay. 20 personnel? Okay.
So you want to move Sean up to what time?
About 10:30.
That'll work. I'll go tell.
So we need 20. We'll put us at
We got Abby,
10:05. Who?
Abby with the extension office. Do you want to
Oh,
just kind of tell us who you are and what you do? And
hi, Abby.
Hello. I am Abby Powell with the Extension District, and you used to see me a lot more until, well, you guys probably didn't. We've been a district about 6 years, so we're now Linn and Miami County. We're the Meridazine Extension District, and so we still fall under the county. We're kind of that one you don't ever hear a whole lot of. So, but I am here today. We've been working with the health department and Doug on the vaccinations and using the 4-H building. And so you guys are in the, what, 3 weeks now and you're using the 4-H building? Yeah, so we're still working out some kinks, but I talked to Danny this morning and he thought it would be a good idea for me to come just to give you guys an idea of what the 4-H building's purpose and how it operates.
Okay.
We're kind of that nobody really knows. So, as you guys know, the 4-H building is a county building. It's owned by the county. The county maintenance takes care of it. Rick is great at maintaining things. I know they've had some trouble with the heating systems. And then at the extension office, we manage it as far as scheduling goes. And so if somebody wants to use the 4-H building, they call our office to get on the schedule. We also take care of the cleaning. Our 4-H junior leaders go in there once a month to take care of the cleaning of that building. And with fair being so different this year, time is kind of getting away. So 2 summers ago, it had shag carpet on the walls and looked pretty poor. So some of the 4-H clubs came in, ripped the shag carpet off the wall. We painted everything. Rick and Danny Nation helped us do that. And so we've had a great improvement there. And so we are seeing a great increase in the number of renters using the building. And so in addition to the COVID being there, we have a weekly dog 4-H club that meets in there. We have 2 4-H clubs that use it on a monthly basis. We also have seen an increase in the number of weddings, birthday parties, you name it, happening there. And so it's been a pretty big boom in the number of renters, which is kind of surprising because for a while, we didn't have a whole lot of people that used it. And so we've had an increase there. And so we are happy to continue doing the scheduling and kind of working with Rick on, the maintenance. He's great at taking care of those type of things and working through the cleaning process. But I just thought that with everything that's going on there and just some of the different calls and not being sure, because I know there was some people that thought that the Fair Board managed that building, and it's actually us at the extension office. And like I said, we're happy to continue to do that and kind of oversee it just to make sure that we're kind of keeping things kind of rolling. So any questions on that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Thanks for doing that. And
No, appreciate
Yeah.
you coming over.
We're just kind of that awkward office.
Awkward office.
We are. Sometimes they'll call us from the courthouse and say, sorry, we forgot about you. And it's like, it's okay.
And you do walk Kansas no, you don't do that. Or do you do that? You do, yeah.
We do. We do Walk Kansas. We do the 4-H program. We have agents that serve 4-H youth development, ag and natural resources, family consumer sciences, community vitality. So we've got a wide variety of different things that come out through K-State my best way of describing what K-State Research and Extension is we are the people that share the information that the researchers at K-State research. I don't do any research, but we are an extension of the university that helps provide education to the public. So that's where we're at. And the 4-H building, some of you that, I'm not going to point any fingers, but some of you that were maybe around when Larry Blair was here, I think Larry Blair took care of the building. Mark Schuler took care of the building, and it was an inherited piece. So I appreciate Danny saying, hey, can you just come and talk quick and kind of just describe our role and what happens with the 4-H building. So that's where we're at.
Well, thank you very much.
Hey, no problem. Thanks, you guys.
Looked at me when she said it.
Well,
She said old, didn't she? All right. We're going to knock some legal out, Gary, with Tisha for 10 minutes and 5 minutes with Jessica Hightower for trade secrets. That's 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and have a hearing. Are you here for the hearing, sir? Are you Kelly? All right. So my motion is to go into executive session, 10 minutes with Tisha for legal and 5 minutes with Jessica Hightower for trade secrets.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
That's my nature. When I'm not drunk, I'm sober.
Tomorrow will be 60.
Okay, we're here for, open a hearing for the road vacation. What road is it, Gary?
It's 2100 road between Yancey and possibly as far as the state line.
Okay, we have a gentleman here probably want to speak on that as well.
You're the applicant.
And Kelly Thomas, right? Back in the back. Okay.
Let me show you what, just to refresh. Show you what we got. Here's Yancey Road, here's 2100 Road, there's the state line.
Okay.
Mr. Hernandez, is that it? Mr. Hernandez lives here, and basically the road only goes that far.
Okay.
There is a road platted, to my understanding, I haven't looked at it.
Hey, gentlemen, we'll do a little different. All three of you come up here. We'll huddle around this map and we'll talk so everybody will know where we're at.
Road is platted all the way through here.
This is Yancey.
Yancey, here's the state line. Road's platted all the way through, but to my understanding, there really isn't much of a road past about here.
That's correct. The road basically terminates at this tree line.
Okay.
It goes to nothing? Tree line?
Well, it's grown up the tree
Okay.
all the way through to here,
Okay.
and then it never existed from here on through.
Okay. And
It's gated
okay,
here.
hold on. Go ahead.
It's gated here, to my understanding.
Okay.
And so Mr. Hernandez requested closing this portion of the road from here to his section.
And what about you?
That's
That's
you.
You and him?
I manage.
Okay. Okay.
When we gave notice closing the whole thing, because there's never been a road here.
Okay.
That doesn't mean we have to close the whole thing or any of it. But we gave notice to close from here to here, because there's never been a road here, and this is basically unused.
Kelly, tell me about yours.
If this is considered a road, this right here is most definitely a road. Cause this right here is
Where do
my
you-
legal access.
Where do you live at?
I live in Overland Park, my farm is here.
Right there.
This
How
is
do you get
me.
in now?
I come in through Power and Lights, right about here. And I don't have an easement, it's a written permission for me. I basically built the road
Okay.
to get in there. Because if I had built this road, I mean, you can tell, this is 7
No
tenths of a
problem.
mile.
I figured so. Thank you.
That's me behind the machine, I believe the way you know. Let's see. The state line,
Here's the state line here.
okay, that's me.
You're,
my
you-
shop.
so you're on the Missouri
Yes, sir.
side.
This is the road that I built right here. To come in off the blacktop B 2200. Now, Mr. Hernandez and I have not talked. I didn't realize he wanted to close the road. I didn't know that's where it was initiated from. My only concern is if Pilot Light tells me to take a hike,
Well,
I have no access to my road
So-
other than,
This
and
is,
I've always got along with him. Yeah, and I didn't know you were the one wanting to close it.
this,
How long have you had that road access over there?
20 plus years. Oh, you mean the one I built? Oh, God, probably 15 years.
I think you've got a right to maintain that access at that point. I think it's maybe 15 years in Kansas, but it's 7 years most places.
Well,
Well,
I'm no attorney. I don't know. I just, again, I've always, they're great neighbors.
Yeah.
But if they tell me to pound sand and I have to use this and it's not a public road, then they can come and pound sand.
Let me get one more back there.
You're not much into pounding.
No, I did not know, you could probably could avoid all this. I mean,
Okay.
Well, we should have, but I never dreamt of it affecting you because there's no road back there. It just,
well, it's a road.
Well-
You been back?
yeah,
Let's see.
it's grown up with trees.
I can take a tractor and drive from right here to my shop, wherever it's at. over here.
It'd be up here.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we got all this correct. Here's 2200 road,
Yes, sir.
and your place is,
I'm behind
you're on the Missouri side?
no, sir, my east property line is Missouri,
Okay, so you're right up in here.
right up to the state line.
You're north of, no, that must be you right there, because that's,
You're right over there.
this is you. All right, so all of this is north here
Correct.
of this. This right here would be this pond right here. Okay, so he lives right about here. And then there's this right of way runs up through here. Now, looking at this map, this shows you have access here.
No, that's across the state line, that's a high fence. And the reason I had to build this is when I bought the farm, the old man, G.W. Morris, sold that to me. I was coming in there, no problem. When Midland Cattle or Sterling or whatever you want to call them bought it, they stopped it.
So this road doesn't, this isn't a road,
That's not they use it for their, ranch access, farm access, whatever. But there is a high fence, I'm talking about high fence that with exotic animals all the way along my east and south.
East of the power plant?
Yes, sir.
On the south side?
Yes, sir.
all right, so that's where we stand. And I am not making any opinions about what kind of rights he might have to use this. You would need to get a legal opinion from someone.
The way they told me, they wrote it up as permission to use it, and he said the only way we would ever do away with that is something with the EPA. If they come in there and said you had to close it, I have no idea where that came from, but I do not have an easement.
Right. If they did permission, they did that because then they could revoke permission.
Exactly.
But they can't revoke an easement. So, but that's how you get in and out now.
Yes, sir. See that changing, but again, it would put me at a severe disadvantage if they stop that. And this is not a public road, then I'm
Mr. Hernandez,
landlocked.
what was the purpose of closing it?
Well, I got livestock in there running loose back and forth, and I just want to make sure that I have control of it.
Thomas, what would happen if we continue this for a month or two and get together with the folks that you got that gave you right ingress through there and see what we can work out that'll work for everybody?
I'm happy to contact them without a doubt. And if I could buy that stretch, I would do it just out of convenience because as you, I don't like that.
Driving.
No.
Yeah.
No. And to your point, it's I don't want to take a brand new pickup through there, but I can take a Polaris Ranger or tractor and go from right here to my shop.
Well, you could have.
No, I can't. I mean, we do it.
Well,
through there. Yes, sir.
Okay.
All of the things being equal, let's assume that none of this, that they closed this and said you're screwed. we could still do this if we wanted to, if you had an easement in here.
Okay.
As opposed to being a county road.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something for you guys to work out.
Well, again, Mr. Hernandez has always been very grateful.
You have to have-
Give him permanent easement.
Yeah.
We have to have survey.
That way you got a problem. That way you
never
And
have.
then what happens once they sell that? I mean, so these two landowners.
That's perfect. The easement runs with the land.
An easement would go with private.
So that would be an option. I'm not suggesting it's the best option, but.
Now, why don't we just delay it?
Let's
Let them
continue
work at it?
Let's continue it. And we won't, if ever, all the interested parties are here, so we don't have to give notice, but let's say, let's continue it for 3 weeks. And in 3 weeks, we'll either look at it again or continue it again.
Okay.
Depending on where you guys are.
Are y'all,
3 weeks.
everybody okay with that?
I'm good.
Because you guys can probably work it out much better than we
Well, I'm
can.
gonna talk, to your point, I was talking Pine Light, and I don't know where I'll get it, but
Okay.
I do know that they don't rent that machine shop anymore, is what I was told.
Okay.
Do you know?
I don't know for sure.
So maybe they're, you know,
Well, let's say, what, this is the 22nd of, let's say the 22nd of March. That'd be 4 weeks. That'd give you time to talk to Fire and Light, talk to each other. And then if you don't want, you're not ready
You'll have a problem.
to take a look at it again.
They figured it out easier than we can.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
It has been good to work with, but they're not too promptly responsive.
Right. That's fine.
Yeah, I got you.
Gentlemen, thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
You guys.
thank you.
So I think a motion on the record to continue this hearing to March 22nd.
That's my motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Andy, do you got something? Where are we at? Like, come on up here for a second, since you're a victim now. Tell us where we're at on the,
Comprehensive plan.
thank you. Where are we at on the comprehensive plan we paid for?
I haven't heard back from them since I carbon copied you some emails that I interacted with them.
Right.
What names did you turn in, Danny?
I turned in one name. Did we have to have a motion to approve these names that we went through?
We did. I don't know whether we had to, but we made it a point to.
Because I've had numerous people reach out to me over telephone, text, phone calls about wanting to be on it. And it's too many people to even, I mean, there's too many people, and
Do you have enough people right now?
4 and 3 from District 3 and
You got 1 or 2?
I got 2 that I already had that
Yeah.
I, for sure want, but everybody else, I've had probably 6 or 7 people reach out to me, and I don't think it's fair that, I don't know.
Look, there's a lot of committees. And my point is, we talk about people don't know who serve on these committees a lot of times in the past years. So there's no ruling that says we have to vote on it, but why wouldn't you want that to be open, that I want
Why
to,
wouldn't we throw all the names in there and let somebody draw the names out of the hat if that's what it comes down to?
or just have the commissioners appoint and everybody support, and if they have a beef with something, just get with that commissioner.
Just because a person is not on this committee doesn't mean they can't participate in this process.
Correct.
Plenty of opportunity.
Yeah.
I would think everybody that wants to participate, we'd put their name in there myself.
Yeah.
And anybody that wants to.
Yeah, but we can only have so many for the
But
big
at
one.
least we got them
Yeah.
there to draw from.
Yeah.
I mean, somewhere.
Yeah. So anyway, I'd like to see we're going to get this thing going, because it's been dragging and dragging.
Are we
and
paying
dragging.
for it?
Yeah, we paid
What do we pay monthly?
$35,000.
Pay the flat fee for it.
We paid 35, I believe.
they have it broke into different functions.
Right.
We've already paid for the first part,
Right.
which they completed it. So,
And what was that?
What they complete?
the kickstart, it was a meeting with different affected county offices and people here in this building.
Okay. So what's the next step?
I'd have to go pull it out and see.
Okay. But anyway, I got a concern for it now, because we've been going a long time. So If you could look into that, I'd appreciate it. And tell us.
Is it just, I mean, COVID related that? behind?
That's what they're using as their basis for not showing up or responding. Maybe a phone call.
I'll touch base with them.
I would appreciate it.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
So are we gonna turn more names in or not? I mean, that's what I'm asking, I guess.
I'm happy with the 4 I've got for mine. And then I know that from there, Jim, you want to think about this, they're supposed to break off in committees as well. So, I mean, they could get 10 or 12 people or 8 or 10. I don't know how big the committees will be for whatever groups. And what did I ask you that I thought would be another thing to add to your list last week?
Hunting clubs and affected
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah. So we don't have any rules or regs, and do we need any rules and regs on hunting clubs coming into the county and the high fence issues and what they can and can't do if they're going to put a duck club so many feet within the neighbor's house? And I don't know. You know,
That'd have to be well thought through.
I'm just asking if it's an issue in any other counties that they have it, and just look into it real quick. And if it's not, then it's not. But I mean, if somebody had $1 million home out there on an estate and then somebody built a hunting club next door to it,
I think
it might not go well.
I think the flip side of that would be you and me and Jim own 160 acres and we invite all our friends a couple times a year to go
Hunting?
hunting. And is that a hunting club? You know, why would we need?
Well, this is not the case. These are like Ducks Unlimited clubs or well-known clubs, not your friends from wherever, your relatives we're talking about. You know, these are well-known clubs, and I'm not picking on Ducks Unlimited. I'm just saying these big clubs that charge fees. I guess they charge fees to hunt, especially, you know, duck clubs and stuff like that with loud noises continuously for long periods of time. If you down south part of Lacing, there's several of them down in there, and there's lots of naturally there's going to be a lot of shooting, of course, but I didn't know if it's something we need to look into or not. But
Sure. I can see what
that's what the committee should be.
other counties do, but it would need to be. I'd work it through the comp plan update.
Yeah,
While we're going.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's all I'm asking.
Okay.
Thank you.
You asked me last week about enforcement of noxious weeds.
Yes, sir.
I have summarized the enforcement process here. There's a couple different approaches. If we treat by some sort of an agreement or contract with the property owner, then the process is to bill them, to add a 10% penalty if it's not paid within 30 days. We charge interest from the date of the bill. We file the bill with the register of deeds of the county clerk. And if it's not paid in another 30 days, then it becomes a lien on the property and it's spread upon the tax returns. That's how you enforce if the property owner agrees. Says, yes, come treat my land.
Okay.
If there is no agreement, then we must attempt a phone call, personal contact, or first class mail, or all of the above, or email. If we're unsuccessful at getting an agreement out of that, then we give them notice pursuant to this statute, and the notice is a certified mail notice to the owner and any operator, tell them what needs to be done and the time limit to comply. We also may, as an alternative or addition, publish a general notice. In other words, say it may apply to more than one property, publish a notice. If there's no compliance by the deadline, then we can go in and treat the land. We send a bill for the costs plus 10%. There's interest on the unpaid bill from the date of treatment. We file the bill with register deeds and so forth, just like the other situation. If someone does not comply or in some way interferes with our action here, they may be charged with Class C misdemeanor. And finally, there is a specific statute giving the county the right to enter the land to do this, because typically we can't just go on land, for most things, but we can't for this. We have the right to enter the land to, treat weeds, so that's the process.
Okay. So,
I don't think in the time I've been here, we've ever done it involuntarily. I don't believe it.
we got a lot of fixing ourselves first. All right, before we get into this, were they on their way? Okay.
You were needing a personnel session too.
Let's do it. You need that long? Let's do 15, and then if you need 20, you'll talk fast. I'll make a motion. We go into executive session for personnel for 15 minutes with Jackie Messer. Second. Moved and second. All in favor? Aye. Right there. Does anybody have anything else before we just go into this park meeting? Did you have anything, Gary?
Don't mix this or.
No. I don't need you. Did you have anything for Gary? Anybody? Jessica, he's leaving. Do you need him?
Don't know why.
Okay. So this is our public park workshop for, you just tell us a little bit about what's going on at the park and what you'd like to do, and probably get questions asked about where we're at in expenses versus income and all that. Come on up here, scoot on up, if you don't mind getting a little close talking there.
You asked me last week to give you a comparison of the
Yeah.
budget. He's gonna pass all that.
So this one shows budget for several years, and I've got the park lines kind of highlighted in gray down there. Didn't show up real well in black and white there. And then
When did the reporting change its course? What year? What year did we start reporting differently than we normally did?
3 years, 17.
19 or 18?
He does.
When did Mr. Holt retire? And was it 18 or? And then we had some. What was it? Bobby was there for a while.
Yeah. I guess another way of asking the question is, did we change the way we report personal services amounts on this sheet? Or is it still the way they've done it for us?
It's whatever is charged to that account and consistently on it.
I mean, that part of the benefits.
The benefits have never shown up on that.
They're still not for this.
Still.
Okay. Yeah, that's something I was thinking to
So
change.
if you look at the personal service line, you probably could multiply that by 30% to get the right number. Is that right?
That would give you an estimate. I mean, it's going to be different for different people depending on which benefits they
So
take.
add 30% to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we have been tracking the publics as well. Might just cut a report on there. Then that would show the actual personnel cost.
There. All right. So where'd you go? He's told me. We'll get to the numbers here shortly. We'll keep looking at them, but tell me what without talking numbers, just talk about the park itself.
The first year.
We'll get back to that.
It was 2018. We focused a lot on cleaning up the park, some of the codes, regulations. We had somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 full-time lots rented throughout the park. A lot of code issues, a lot of rent collection past due. There was a lot of issues as far as the permanent residents. That's gone down to about 9 permanent residents right now.
We went from 25 to 9 now.
Yes.
Probably in 2020 you're down to 9 now.
Yes.
What'd you have in 2019 then?
In 2019, I believe we had closer to 12.
And did that include the house?
No, that does not include the house.
Okay.
So we cleaned up a lot of code issues back rent. A lot of the renters that we had that left, were, habitual code issues and rent collection issues. We also worked on, setting regulations, for the future. A lot of the gravel pads and infrastructure, the lift station was a major problem that year. We pulled pumps in and out several times, before we got the issues with the lift station that first year. And then we worked on some water leaks throughout the park, and maintenance. That year, we raised the park rates for the full-time residents by taking away the $3 discount that first year.
Right.
The second year, we had COVID hit, things got closed down, and we cited the cabins. At that point, the cabins, the maintenance on them had got deteriorated, and we had holes in the side of at least 2 cabins where we had varmints coming in and out of the buildings, through the side off the porches. I mean, these are, nearly the size of a basketball that were chewed into the side of the building. So we re-sided the cabins.
In what year? 19?
Yes.
What was that cost?
We also went inside when we did that, when he cited it.
Yeah, I know you did a lot of work. I
We
just,
put the vanities in there, we put the
Okay.
water saver instead of hot water heaters, we use, on demand. So there was some internal improvements.
Yeah, and I don't know
I
that
think
I
that
can.
was in 20 though, because we started that with code, that's 19, that was 20.
you had the one
Could that have
cabin. Yeah.
Yeah, because when.
It's up on the hill.
Yeah, that'd been the second year I was there, and I'm sorry, jumped my years. I retired in 18, so the first year I started was 19.
Now, would that have been in the capital outlay then, as far as expenses?
She's running a report for personal expenses, how much we paid.
We also,
How many cabins, I'm sorry, Sean, how many cabins have we built since you've been here?
One.
Just the one.
6 and 7.
But we resided all of them and we redid the insides of all of them. Bobby worked on them, saw every one of those cabins, right?
I don't think the insides were upgraded. He mostly was building the new cabin.
Well, I know that, but he worked on some of the insides too. I'm positive of that, but, on certain things. So what happened this year? What you guys got?
we had storm damage, COVID, we re-sided cabins, we went back in, like Jackie said, vanities, the water heaters. We had, storm damage that we did a lot of trees and we're down to, I believe, 1 loop, maybe a partial another that we still have to take trees out that are busted over. A lot of them are hazards that are hung up. Our point of sales went in this year. The Ventec is in place and will be up and running shortly, which is the camp rental device, or kiosk outside the marina.
So it's not running yet.
It is not online yet.
We're waiting for the software from Ventec.
Okay.
Get on this week.
Again, we did a lot of infrastructure, some of our lost power. We dug up some lines. We currently have 2 main water leaks that we shut down that we'll have to, again, work on the decaying infrastructure as far as the sites go. And that's just continual. Park rates for the short-term campers went up this year. No longer do they have a yearly pass that allows them $3 a day discount. The parking pass is used as a parking pass now. They rent their campsites at full price, and get their parking pass for 1 vehicle with that rental. So that should improve some of our deficiencies that we're losing there. We also raised cabin rates. I believe the old rate was $40 a night, and it's now up to $50 a night and $53.75 with tax. We instituted shower passes because we had people buying yearly parking passes and coming into the park and showering. For a $25 parking pass, we'd have 4 to 6 people in a car showing up 2 to 3 times a week throughout the year. And we were losing money consistently throughout the year on families coming from Missouri and from lake communities. Recently, we looked at the laundry as well, and I'm talking with we contract the laundry service. We don't own the machines. Laundry Solutions does, but the rates on those, I believe we take somewhere near a third of the price of the laundry for electric, water, and heat in the building. That third, I don't know when it's been changed, but I looked at Pleasanton, you're looking at like $4.25 to do a load of wash and drying it, and we're still charging $2, $1 for each.
So we're probably not getting our costs back.
We're losing money every time somebody goes in there. I've been told by Laundry Solutions, we can raise the rates without changing the contract and without changing the machines. We can double those rates. Those machines or coin changers can go up to $2 a load on both sides without any adjustments other than a phone, which needs to be done. Like I said, some of the setbacks we've had is the COVID-19 and the shutdown from it, the storm damage. We've got other issues as far as even if we hadn't been facing the COVID-19 issue, we're facing what I believe, and I've got a very short time with the park, but from talking to people that have been there for years and people that have used the park for years, we've got a declining park membership or visitors in our park each year. And some of that is due to infrastructure that has gone down, that they can go other places. We don't have any attraction other than the fishing or a large attraction for the families to come in. We lost a pool at one time that was there long before I was there. We're down to a water park. That was also shut down during COVID. Even when we came back up with our camping, the water park was shut down all last year. So the attraction or lure for those people to come into the park and to see us compared to other parks in the area, there really isn't a large draw. We've talked about the horse trails over the last year. If I had to put a number to it, I would say you had 25 to 30 people use the horse trails. I don't know what the original agreement with the group that helped put those trails in was, but I know they're overgrown. The trails themselves need a lot of maintenance, and we probably had 25 to 30 riders at best last year. And the only revenue we take from those 25 to 30 riders are their park pass, their $3 a day. So the revenue generated by the horse trails last year had to have been less than $100. That's a large expanse of our park that is going unused and undeveloped for revenue. One of the things that a lot of people have shown interest in that would not only bring revenue for parking in, but also bring people in for camping, would be side-by-side use in the park. People want to go camp, they want to bring their side-by-sides, they want to go off-trail, nature, picnic, whatever. There is the issue of regulating that, speeds, alcohol, things of that nature. The implementation of that would have to be done not only with us, but with a local group, the way the horse trails were put in. Jessica got me a contact to here locally, to open discussions about that, to see what we could do as far as in-kind services to open up a trail. But I believe that type of, if not that specific use, but that type of use where someone comes in for that attraction and also camps in our park and spends money as revenue as far as camping there, has to be something that we consider, because we're losing money on the horse trails and the other avenues. The RC park or RC field for remote control airplanes, it has not been used since I've been there. Drones obviously have taken over that type of outdoor activity, but we maintain that part of the park. We maintain and mow, and we are doing that maintenance for no profit whatsoever.
Or reason right now.
True. So we do need to look at the services that we offer, or the recreational services that we offer. I know that swimming and discussions as far as the lake and what can be done there, as far as opening a swimming area or a beach area, has been on the table. But I think, as I understand it, there's some holdbacks as far as finding out what we can and can't do.
But we haven't tried yet.
I think that'd be huge.
Okay, I think it would, one, because there's not a lot of infrastructure behind it, two, the maintenance on it, and as far as the employee cost, as far as that versus a pool, is huge. I think it'd be a huge benefit to the park.
Do we just use the lake for free, or how is it?
We have an agreement with the lake, with Power and Light, for, I think it was for 50 years or something. Yeah.
We don't control it, we don't go on it.
But talking to Don just a little bit, right? Don, isn't he the guy?
So how come he can't get new docks out there then, if he's in control of all that? That's the,
Docks are ours, even though the water, I put in for grants when I struck it.
because I went out there and just waited one day and listened to a guy get off. He's like, I just wish he was better docks. Like, it's the best lake I've ever been to. And he goes, it's, he was got a gym right off the highway. He goes, but docks. So, and then I talked to Don, and he
And I put in some grants, but the problem was, they don't want replacement docks, they want new ones. So the fact that we're replacing one,
He sounded like, when I talked to Don a little bit about the swimming portion, he wouldn't say yes or no, obviously.
the big stick in the mud is,
Yeah.
and even if he wants to do trails, we cannot find.
We've had somebody wanting to help you with those trails at one time. That lives
At one
on.
time, there was discussion, I believe that.
The guy hands the equipment and wanted to do it like, I don't know. No.
Left the area and sold, is my understanding.
Okay, well, I don't think he did, but
He's one across the street from the entrance, I believe.
anyway, I understand losing, what, $4,500 a month in income for those permanent homes, I call them. We became a trailer park there. It was getting obscene with the amount of electric they could hook up and what we were actually charging. We lost that all in just electricity. So I know we benefited from that. We got the hay contract under control now. It's not very much, you're right. It could be if it was done right.
is there ever any complaints about shoreline fishing? I mean, that we don't have enough stuff opened up for people. Do you ever hear anything like that?
We get asked about shoreline fishing and what the access to the shoreline is. We do have shoreline around the tent camping area on the north end, and at the horse camp on the south end, and some around the marina and the park area. But there are, in most of those areas, there are large issues with lack of riprap and erosion in those areas as well.
And I do understand You know, BMW used to bring their bike crew down here every year. I think 2015 or 16 is the last time they did it. But they've been coming down for years, and they'd bring 400 or 500 people down, and they'd always eat at the restaurant there or somewhere. But you're right, it became a place where you just come there, and if you didn't bring your own food, you had to figure out how to get it catered in there. So that was a big disadvantage to the park too, once that restaurant closed out there. So I understand there's some struggles as well.
There are issues. One of the things that, aside from the laundry that I've looked at recently, is I've had now 2 winters. The infrastructure on the cabins, we've got shutoffs on all those cabins. They haven't been turned in years. Most of them have ice up over the shutoffs and can't be shut off individually. So I looked at the last 2 months of cabin rentals. In the first 2 months of this year, we will have rented 1 cabin, not just one, but 1 cabin, 15 nights is what it comes out to. So we've had 15 nightly rentals on our cabins for 7 cabins, and we have heated those for 60 days. That comes out to 420 days for 7 cabins, and we have rented them 15.
Well, you know, there's people in the county that don't even know that park exists.
Do we have that on the internet?
As far as
Like Airbnb and all that?
no,
I really think that,
It's the only way to do it. You're
I
right.
mean, when I used to own my cabins, I mean, word of mouth goes good, but people going by, when they're going Google and they're looking for a place to stay, those cabins will pop up if they're on Airbnb. Maybe it's something we can, and I don't know what the job description of the marina lady or clerk is or whatever, but maybe we can make that part of her job title to control that Airbnb.
she has experience in that. But I think that would also come down to making those decisions on how and where we rented those. As long as we had a platform for her to follow, I don't think that would be a large issue.
It pretty much
just
does
need-
most of it for you.
Yeah, there's a calendar on the
Yeah.
Airbnb and you can reserve, and you actually use it for your own personal
We
use.
had a
So if you have somebody reserve.
Property that I sold that a lady had, and she was 90 years old and did it.
Do we turn the heat and the AC down in those things when they're not in use?
That's the problem that I was getting to with those, with the shutoffs not having been used and deteriorated to the point that you can't get to some and you can't shut them off. We heated 7 cabins for 2 months for 15 daily rentals.
Right, I understand that, but can we drop the temperature way down in them is what I'm asking.
We had a water line bust in one of them, the main line coming into the cabin breaking. We've got to repair it because of this cold snap. I think it would be more feasible to go back between, there's 2 sets of 3 and then one off by itself where the other cabin's going to be built. The one by itself, cabin 7, is run on a unique water line coming out of the shower house. It could be shut off individually. The shut off there is new.
You're talking just the water, though, is what you're saying?
Yes. And if we,
Tape around it?
if we were able to put a valve in between 1, 2, and 3 and 4, 5, and 6, we could isolate those cabins and only rent or have 3 of them available and shut 4 of them down and cut the loss. Or with only 15 rentals in 2 months, we may consider just shutting those down in the winter months and winterizing them, because outside, after the deer hunters leave us, mid to late December, once the deer hunters leave, right up through March, our cabin rentals are just a losing venture.
Are them on slabs, concrete slabs?
My understanding is yes.
So how had we done ours in Pleasanton was we didn't even have the, we had the air heat, and we didn't even turn it on during the winter. We just wrapped heat tape around it and plugged it in.
Not only that, some of the water lines would see, in fact, there was a rock sitting out there by one of them to cover up the water line. Yes.
So what's your,
My suggestion would be, one, we look at the loss on the cabins, we increase the laundry. We start working on the small bleeds that are wasting money in the park as far as the revenue in the wintertime and throughout the year. We continue to look at our rates versus what we're paying as far as electricity. We compare it to other campgrounds around us, and we look to bring a venue in that not only, like the horse trails, would bring someone into our park, but that would have them staying in our park to bring the numbers up in our park. Because if we don't have an attraction for people to come into the park and stay, then we're not going to be able to keep that revenue up with parking passes, with people just coming in and using daily use. If they're not staying there and camping and using the facility, then we're losing money. And we're also losing revenue around the community, because those people that come in, yes, they buy gas, they pick up little things for the day, but your campers are picking up food, they're adding to the economy around the marina and some of the stores in the towns around it. So
Don't forget, I mean, one of the most effective and cheapest ways to advertise is through social media. And I mean, I do it all the time. And
I think you guys have a Facebook page.
we have a Facebook page, and Sherry manages it.
but that's not it. It's not just managing it. It's putting ads out. That's where those things come from, and have pixels hooked to your Facebook so that you have email addresses and where you can obtain where that information came from, so you can reply back to them.
I don't know how it works, but like he says, I mean, when I'm traveling, my wife can pop up on the internet and find, I mean, and we'll find places that I would not even know existed.
I think
Traveling in Wyoming or any place, we'll find it.
lost in my eyes. And, it'd be nice. I mean, do we have anybody reaching out? I mean, I know they do like bass tournaments and stuff like that. Do we have anybody, inside of the county that works for us reaching out to those kind of organizations and inviting them here?
The bass tournaments or catfish, crappie tournaments are all run individually, and we really, other than them calling as a courtesy to let us know that they're going to have a large tournament that weekend, and so we can let other people know in the park that have an interest as far as fishermen, camping.
I think that would also take partnering with Don George and them, because they're again, the water's there.
The parking is the only thing, they call us as a courtesy.
It's crazy to me that we're not just, being overloaded with people right now wanting to, when I bought a new masonry company, because people are staying home wanting to be outdoors and stuff, and we're not seeing the incline of people at the park. I still understand.
We had it closed though for a long time for whatever.
What if you do the side-by-side deal? What's the liability issue there? Whenever we start doing that?
I think you're looking at something similar to the liability of the horse trails. We had no ability or have no ability if a rider gets thrown off their horse to go and get them. I don't know what the county pays for any.
Well, the horse deal's different as far as in Kansas. I mean, you accept the liability. That's the kind of way it is with horses. I mean,
if we looked at the side by side, we would have to look at who's going to maintain it. Would it be a club interest, a local interest to do the maintenance? And we'd also have to look at the insurance and liability to the park, which would be another reason to control the alcohol, the speed, and the use, because at certain times when it's raining, this would be a leisure type trail, not like Mapleton climbing trails and things of that nature. This is not an off-road recreational climbing. It would be
hard to police it too, probably.
True.
That's something.
But we would have to have gates to shut it off in poor weather, because we wouldn't want damage to it for the club's purpose, and then them lose interest in spending each weekend they've got trying to maintain it.
Well, it just concerns me as far as what money we've put into it. And like I realized the last year, it's a terrible year for any kind of recreation, but that's a lot of money to me.
And just the mowing portion, I kind of laughed when Jackie told me they use the zero turn mower on something why would you use a zero turn mower that small when you should be using a tractor with a,
and
mower.
We do have a brush hog that we're using for the large.
Or a finish mower. I mean, they make 84-inch finish mowers, and this guy's using a 42-inch or 46-inch cut mowing 8 acres,
Yeah, and our mowing situation, as far as mower equipment, I mean, we've got one that's, I mean,
But you have a finish mower from what I understand, right?
Yeah. No, with bush,
You, huh?
15-foot.
Bush hog?
Yeah, that we use.
That's fine. I mean,
especially-
certain parts of the, yeah.
yes, on certain parts of the park that we use the brush hog. But the main areas of the park, inside the park that are not open recreational areas, we still use the zero turns simply to get in and out of the lot areas. And those are very dated.
What would it be if you closed the park on December 30th and you opened it back up in, would you say March is when it starts back up?
If we closed it seasonally,
Mm-hmm.
the only downfalls to that would be, one, you'd have fishermen that wouldn't have access from those two boat ramps. And the only other,
I bet we could work that out.
How many campers do you have through the winter months? It probably has something to do with the power plant. I mean, do you get?
we will have power plant workers working outages periodically. I think outside of our just normal residents, we've got 2 right now that I can think of that are in there that are doing construction trades. One's building a raceway in Missouri, and I think the other may be a plant worker.
Now, do the cabins down there along by the power plant, do they stay very busy? I mean, the ones that they rent out there?
Well, yeah, they do.
They do.
Yeah. That person's had those for years and, yeah.
They're on the internet.
Yeah. But you might really, what he's saying and what I'm saying is that is your, social media is your best and if you don't advertise, and not just have the Facebook page, not just have the Instagram, but it has to be worked out where their ads going, you know. You can take a $20 ad and drag it out 15, 20 days and get a number of hits. The one post that I got off of last year, year before last, somebody, some government agency had posted that it was like the 3rd best lake or 2nd best lake, or maybe it was the 1st best lake. And I put it on one of my company's websites as look what Linn County's done. And then I boosted that post and I got 100,000 hits on it. That's a lot. And it cost me less than $10. And I was just trying to drag people to my, hey, look, this is my business. But I'm just saying, this little things sometimes explode to big things. And
the lake does bring a lot of fishermen into our area. And it is, our parking areas are used for that purpose.
Right.
Above any other service we have in the park. The unfortunate part about that is that brings very little revenue into the park as far as.
You have to have a lake permit to fish that lake, or is it just?
No.
It's state regulated.
Just state regulated.
The only thing they pay is a $3 parking pass to park it at our boat ramps.
So.
Yeah.
So
you'd actually know then how many people's fishing the lake throughout the year by your $3 parking permit if you went back to, you could tell.
Between it and the yearlies, yes.
You could tell how many yearly people fish it yearly, so what I'm asking.
We can tell how many people either bought yearlies or daily permits,
Right.
yes.
Could you
I
see that?
just don't know at this point how to attract those people to camp and stay with us.
Right.
Because when you
That
talk
would
about.
give us an idea how many people's actually using the lake for us for the year, though. I mean, right now, to
True.
What we could boost it.
True, and the numbers that we're seeing as far as fishing versus camping, I think can be directly attributed to what you're saying as far as people go online and they look, my wife does it as well. We're planning family trips, bike trips. And when we look online and we see that the place we're going to has this list of amenities and options and things to do in the area, that's an attraction. We not only need to advertise, but we need to have a draw for those families to do other things other than fish, because we're not going to get a lot of family revenue.
Yeah, you're not going to get a 5 or 7 day stay probably because.
Well, if they've got a pool somewhere else
Yeah,
for
yeah.
kids, or they've got swimming somewhere.
Sure.
If you have that attraction for families versus just one person going,
Right.
dad going there fishing, it's kind of a hard draw to get that larger group in there.
It is.
And some of the groups we've had, obviously, we've suffered because of COVID. They've got a medieval reenactment group that normally comes in. We've had some groups deteriorate as far as the COVID issues go, but I don't think the groups that we see are generating newer groups. We haven't seen anything new come in there since I've been in there as far as, like bike rallies, other things, large groups. We have not seen that come in.
Jessica, is there economic development help that they could have as far as advertising? Is there something out there that you know of that could help them?
I mean, there's like the Southeast Kansas magazine I just got today.
I've never even seen it, so does anybody else? Other than the 50 subscribers?
But, so I have my Facebook page, I'm willing to help if anything needs.
Well, we're looking at ways because it's becoming, with this last year was a total disaster, so to speak. And so to make things better, we need to think of better ways. And plus, we hope that we can open everything wide open again so you can just run. But just doing things more efficiently.
Well, we've got to figure out how for recreation, or it didn't cost us money to have recreation.
That's true.
That's what it is, and that's sad when we're losing money on a recreational type deal.
Yeah.
I mean, because people.
The outdoor recreational activities have to draw more people, and we have to offer
Right.
more, and unfortunately offering more a lot of times means spending more, but we've got a large area and opportunity if we're able to work with other people or other groups that we can bring revenue in and do that slowly without bleeding us even
Right.
more than we've done so far. Like that RC park, I was telling, I think it was Jackie, that, that'd be a perfect place for a 3D archery club or someone to come into and take it over, maintain it. All we do is take the permits off of it from their group. The infrastructure and the ground is there. We just need to find the people that need that venue for their activities and come up with an agreement with them. Same thing with your off-road trails, whether it's side-by-sides or it's mountain bikes. I know a lot of groups that come into areas and because they don't have the land and they run and manage the trails, and they do spend time camping, doing other things in those areas because they're fanatics about it. But we've got to find a way of coming up with agreements with those people to spend less money to get more activities and entertainment in the park, as well as advertise those things, because if nobody knows about it, we're not going to see.
Right. We got,
those
like Rick
people
said, I
there.
think we got to figure out a way to get into Kansas City area or somewhere where people can see it.
Maybe, yeah.
And
thank you.
get it.
And web design, someone that has more knowledge than myself about web design and web marketing. And we probably need to look
You
at
had the
that.
marketing guy right over here, maybe could help volunteer some of it. That was the mayor of Mound City. He's still here.
Kastner, Matt
Yeah.
Kastner. He's
Yeah.
on her committee. She can get him.
But I'm telling you, Airbnb is, if a 90-year-old lady can do it, I know we got the capabilities of doing it. And it's not that hard. And it's in front of, just the name itself, just researching vacation sites in Kansas for fishing, it's going to come up. And it's going to show your cabin and have a little video of it because you're going to do one if you do it on there. And they're going to do all the renting for you. Basically, just letting you know on your calendar, like Danny said for his. Just comes up, it's rented. This is the day. It's already paid for. Here's your cash for it. It works that simple.
If you have somebody come in that's not with Airbnb and, they reserve, you call you and reserve it, you can go into that calendar and Airbnb, you can actually block that off.
Yeah.
Block
You can,
those dates
you can,
off.
and if you got maintenance on a cabin for 2 weeks, you can say this cabin's off track for a while.
I would say that before we did that, we would have to go back in before we videoed them in those 6 older cabins. We've got the siding, we've got everything, but the flooring's going to have to be addressed before we.
Just don't show the floor.
Yeah. The flooring, it's definitely going to have to be addressed before we open those up, because you're marketing against other people.
It's like when you sell a house, but you don't see any pictures of the inside. There's something wrong.
In those cabins, I mean, do we, do we offer bedding or anything like that, or toiletries or anything?
We have put in microwaves, some kitchen utensils and hot plates. We have not got the Wi-Fi up yet in them, but they will be Wi-Fi capable.
That's
and
huge, too.
be another source of income when we get that in there. But no, we don't offer bedding and other issues, mainly because the schedule, as far as the maintenance and the laundry of those things, we went to hospital grade mattresses that are fully encased simply because of health and
Right.
other issues. So there would be a large issue as far as the timeline, because you got to turn them around. When they are being rented, they're being rented. Taking them down 2 to 3 months a year may be the answer as far as that, or if you're looking at taking the part down for that time, because there is a time when we are simply draining money. You still have to do, like we're doing, maintenance on the trees, but we are losing money with the park open in the winter months, and those cabins are a big drain. But we're going to have to look at, do we shut them down? Can we put the shutoffs in there, or do we keep them up and running? But when we do rent them, that cabin cleaner has from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock with 7, soon to be 8 cabins to get all of those cleaned and turned around when they're all rented.
I know it's.
And if you're turning those around with one person, that's a chore.
But people that's coming in off the highway that have nowhere to, say they're getting ready to pull in there, and, they're just traveling and hit weather, I think it'd be a good idea to have like a bed package that we can rent to them way overpriced. I mean, to make money on it, to make it worth renting out to them and saying, here you go, make it worth our while to take it to the laundry there and clean it. And, that's kind of stuff that we did whenever I ran the cabin, and it's not cheap to do. I mean, it's kind of like the last resort, but there's a little bit of extra money you can be made on that. So,
Now, what does this equipment cost on here? I mean, on each one of these
The
individuals?
same as what we did on the FEMA.
That's as far as,
If somebody's going,
okay, I see what you're saying.
And I do see,
that includes fuel and repairs and all that stuff.
Yeah, so this has been a concern. Now it's getting to the critical point. What do we do? I mean, we've got to improve it or do something different.
We'll make it a little bit worse. I don't know if that's any worse, but that, like Sarah said, Jason's crew goes in there, the asphalt crew goes.
Well, I know everybody chips in and really,
That's not reflected in the numbers.
right.
But I think there are some positives too, because I was cornered more than once by people at that park saying, it's a rundown place. We're not bringing our family here anymore. And since then, we've painted, we've got picnic tables. So now the comments coming back are positive.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to help a lot. I think another thing that's a little bit of a problem is the name confusion. You go on the highway, you're going down, it says Lacine Lake, but it doesn't say Linn County Park. So the state calls it Lacine Lake. And I think people don't realize.
What's our sign say out there on 152? The little triangle, the new sign you put up.
I think it says it's Linn County Park.
So why wouldn't we put Lacine Lake, Linn County Park?
69 Highway, probably need to talk to KDOT and see if we can get them to say Linn County
They
Park.
probably won't.
Which would help clarify the name confusion.
But that's not why people are not coming to our park.
no, I do know that
Yeah.
the city of Lacey gets calls for us
Yeah.
because they keep a gathering of my business cards and our hours and things
Yeah.
because they calls for us. and they're very kind about fielding some of those calls and answering questions.
Yeah.
For people that are coming into the area.
And are we on their website, their city website?
I cannot answer that.
Okay. That'd be something to look up. Because they have a pretty decent website, and it's hooked to a bunch of other websites. I think it might even be hooked to Linn County's, I don't know. But,
So I realize you have to do upgrades, but I'll tell you what, if we just keep dumping money into it till we see whether we got revenue coming back, I'm not for that.
Maybe we go talk to this supervisor here for the project and let him know that we have availability, because there's gonna be a lot of contractors coming here with nowhere to sit.
that's true too. I mean, that's a simple one.
Yeah.
You know, RVs, they'll probably be looking for places like, I mean, just maybe get in contact with him and let him know.
And he'll be here. I don't know why we didn't already do that.
Stopping at the cabin right there at that intersection, maybe don't realize there's a lake and a cabin.
Could we put some solar flashing string light around our sign?
Well, and like I said, I only have just under 2 years of experience with the park. But from what I'm being told and the people I've met with and our park employees, that these numbers have steadily dwindled over the years as the infrastructure, the recreational activities, as those things have gone away, the numbers have gone away as well.
How do our rates compare to those that are at Lacine as far as the nightly rates, as far as just cabin? Does anybody know?
Yeah, they're by far cheaper.
By far.
But they offer a little bit. I don't know. Do you, those ones there, they have DirecTV and all that stuff. I don't know. You know, we don't have that.
There was a lake nearby the fair too, right?
Lake and Ed or what?
The people, you said that people come over and do their laundry there from the lake.
We have several people that come over and do their laundry from Missouri and from Tanglewood, and from, I believe, Lacine and other areas that are surrounding the county and other lake communities. Simply to come out and use the shower houses, to use the laundry facilities. They're not camping.
Right.
Where you're talking about she's getting the carloads of people and then.
Yes, and we're losing money just on services that were intended to bolster our park revenue and our attendance, but it's not. It's facilitating.
But those are just a few dollars compared to, right?
They are. The unfortunate part is it runs away other dollars. When one of the groups that we had took their 2 dogs in and washed them in our laundry, in the sinks in our laundry, and trashed the place, those few dollars tend to run away more dollars.
I got you.
Because it was deteriorating the overall family atmosphere in the park.
That'd be huge.
Okay. Well,
I think Danny was asking me a question. Why can't we swim in the lake? Well, from what I understand, there used to be a river going through there, and they're afraid of the undertow.
I'll tell you, all the kids still swim.
I
do it all the time. Used to.
The liability of somebody drowning.
but see, those are all hearsay. We've never sat Don down and really gone at it and find out if there's a spot in that lake.
Who do we talk to? Evergy? Is that?
No, we need to talk to the wild fish and game dude.
Well,
Fish and parks, yeah.
Specifically says you can't get the water, so we need the contract.
But the whole point is to get everybody face to face and try to get it.
I can set up a meeting and find out.
Want to check with, where's their water intake for their power plant and all that.
Yeah.
How long do you have to stay?
Right.
Sure, because I'm just a roped off area for swimming, like you have in many lakes.
You're clear on the other side of where the power plant is.
Yeah.
I mean, as
True.
far as the inlet.
And you could even get further if you went along the bank further down.
Right.
True, and there are areas that we could.
Is there any little inlets that would work
The
out?
problem with the inlets or the coves, those are waterways coming in, so all the sand and beach areas you made would wash back out. You would probably have to take an area like over near Viewpoint, which has a field near the water, create a swimming area out of it with a shelf or a reef at the entrance of it or mouth of it to keep the boating,
It's the same reason no boating, skiing on it.
Can't ski or no water.
I think that'd be huge. I mean,
Well, yeah, but
the recreational opportunities just aren't there.
They won't allow any kind of recreation.
now when was the contract wrote? 70 years ago?
I think it was done in 2018.
we talked about it at one time.
We talked about it coming up. And Jessica's working with Effigy, but he also had KP&L, and now it's Effigy. So maybe Effigy would be more open to it, but we're trying to get the contract from them. I don't think they've got the copy. Gary had the copy, but the last one I have expired in 2008. So it was for 10 years, for 2018, so there was a new one in 2018, it should go to 2028.
Right.
That's the copy.
I thought we did it, but maybe we didn't. Anyway, all right. Well, we'll just end it at that, and maybe you can find some helpful solutions and let us know what you plan. Because the springtime comes up. I know we want to get going now in order to try to make anything happen this year.
True.
And think about the closing of the cabins, if nothing else, for 3 months. If that will benefit us or hurt us.
I believe it would greatly benefit us to.
And then if we need, because if somebody's worried about an employee, that employee can be used for 3 months somewhere.
Well, we have maintenance going even when we don't have people in the park, like I said.
But we can bring a person back here. We can put a person somewhere else. We can and there's always some room down at Prescott. So.
That's right, there's a couple of employees that really don't.
Yeah.
Just because we're making improvements, that doesn't mean we're firing.
So we see the numbers, concern. It's actually way out of control this last year because of what was closed and what wasn't. So we got to do better this year. We got to make changes, or we got to do something with the park. And that's not a threat. That's just a fact. That was a lot of money. And I know that's not what we're here for, to spend the taxpayers' money in that way. I'm not blaming you or anything else.
But that's just the way I feel. Is
I came into this as a learning curve, and the first year I kind of got my feet wet. The second year COVID happened.
Yeah.
As far as I've had managing experience, but parks and recreational or advertising, marketing experience, those things, I don't have a lot of, and I'm relying on learning that as I go somewhat and pulling in other resources. And I've got a lot of help from Rick and maintenance, Jason out of the North shop. Matter of fact, throughout the county, because we don't have a lot of equipment out there to maintain.
Yeah.
So we pull from other resources, and I've got a lot of help from them. But again, we've been trying to make the park cleaner, safer, better, but that doesn't address the revenue issue.
Yeah.
And the revenue issues we're going to have to address, like you said, because this is a large issue. It's getting larger, and without a draw, something that we can advertise that can bring more people in to stay weeks at a time and bring families in.
Just hold your pen.
We're gonna bleed money.
Right.
Thanks, Sean.
No problem.
All right. Has anybody else got anything else?
I don't have anything.
Sean.
You got anything?
Yeah, I got an advertising or a marketing lady. I'm gonna have her get a hold of you.
Appreciate it.
I think she'll help us out a little bit.
And don't forget about Matt. He's on the. Yeah. Just put some sadness on him, and maybe he'll help you out. Okay, I'll make a motion. We adjourn.
Does he have any? You got anything?
Huh?
His restroom.
Oh, sorry.
I seen him sitting there.
Mike White, a Mound City address. I'm a patron of District 2. I'm just kind of curious, sitting here listening to this discussion on the park. Has Wildlife and Parks ever expressed any interest in absorbing that? Taking.
We were just talking a little bit about the docks and stuff. They don't have much interest in it right now. We've never set them down and twisted their arms. You're always going to get the same thing from those organizations, that you can put in for some grants, but that's about.
Well, I mean, if they just took the whole thing, I mean, they certainly have deeper pockets than the county does, and they could make it more attractive.
As long as we don't show them the numbers, they might be interested.
That's enough on that. My main question is where do we stand on the Citizens Advisory Committee for updating the
Well, we addressed that today, and I had turned my names in, and we were talking a little bit about the committee itself, and Danny had asked if it was something that we had to do, appoint them, and we don't have to vote us all in. There's no rule that says we have to vote committee members in. We don't have any governing policies on that. But I did that because I wanted everybody to know that if this is an important issue for the next 10 or 15 years of or longer, how we're planning this out, these are the people that from my district that I think I would trust and that want to do it. These are the ones I appointed, and I wanted everybody to know about it. And I wanted the other two commissioners to be okay with it. If they weren't, then I would have adjusted. I would have found out why they didn't think so and adjusted those individuals. But I got my 4. You've got 3 in.
Mike put them in.
Mike put them in. Danny was working on. Danny didn't get his officially appointed in writing.
I've had, and Rick he got his done quick, and then mine was talked about many times over camera. And Mike, the reason I'm doing that is I want to give you the fair opportunity because you're not the only one that is contacting me. I probably had 6 or 7 different people, and I want to give everybody a fair chance. And I mean, you're probably gonna be mad if I don't choose you to be on that committee, wouldn't you?
I don't know that I'd be mad about it, but I can tell you that there are people that have not been shown interest to be on the committee that are wondering why that you haven't made a decision.
You're the only one that's asked me about it.
Well, I've had people come to me and ask me why a decision hasn't been made, and I said, we're talking to the wrong person.
Okay, so here's the way to settle it. Can you come up with the names next week?
Yeah, me and Andy are gonna talk, yeah.
Just 3 names is the minimum, and if you want to put 4 on, you can. If you want to put 1 on yours, you can.
I don't care, whatever you guys, I mean, whatever's.
4, that leaves 12 people across to get other people to sit on different committees of that, subcommittees, to form all that. And we'll let them worry about the subcommittees, those people you appoint. Does that sound fair enough?
I think that would probably ease the minds of some people.
Okay, so if you could, Danny, come up with those 3 or 4. And if you want to put 1 more on, we'll do 12, and Andy will have to eat it. I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second it.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
I sensed it.